In 2013, Brandon Lawson pulled off Highway 277 near Bronte, Texas, just after midnight, and then his truck sat at the roadside with the engine still running, the door open, and the hazard lights blinking, while two people who arrived within minutes of each other found only the vehicle, and 3 days of ground searches across more than 2,000 acres of West Texas brush turned up zero trace of him. And that is the problem. Brandon Lawson was 26 years old. He lived in San Angelo with his girlfriend Lawson and their children. He worked the oil fields. He was not a man who had gone quietly missing before. He had people who knew exactly where he was and where he was headed. On the evening of August 8, 2013, he and Lawson had an argument. Sometime around midnight, he got into his white Dodge Ram pickup and drove north toward Crowley, Texas, to his father's house. It was a route he had driven before. Highway 277 through Coke County was flat and dark, but it was not unfamiliar terrain. He had a destination. He had a plan. He left the house and drove. At 12:58 in the morning on August 9th, Brandon called his brother Kyle. He said he had run out of gas. His location, the shoulder of Highway 277, somewhere near Bronte. Kyle told him he was coming and started driving. 2 minutes later, Brandon called 911. The call lasted approximately 40 seconds. "Hold on to that call. We are coming back to it," the dispatcher connected. Brandon spoke. His words were fragmented, hard to isolate against road noise and distance. Investigators and independent analysts have spent years trying to clean the audio. The clearest fragments that have emerged, something about pushing someone, a reference to being in a field. The call dropped before anything was resolved. A motorist named Brian Roberts saw the truck on the shoulder. He pulled over, hazards blinking, engine running, door ajar. He stepped out and looked. There was no one. He waited briefly and drove on to call for help. Kyle arrived shortly after, same truck, same open door, same idling engine. No Brandon. Law enforcement arrived and began searching immediately. They had a fixed starting point, the truck, on a specific quarter-mile of highway. They had a time window of under 30 minutes between Brandon's last call and their arrival. A person on foot in the dark in any direction could not have covered significant ground. Searchers combed both sides of the highway. They called his name. They brought dogs. The dogs found no useful trail, no scent path leading away from the shoulder in any direction. Over the following days, teams covered more than 2,000 acres. Helicopters flew the area. Ground crews pushed through mesquite and cedar scrub. No footprints, no phone, no clothing, no blood, no body. Nothing indicating a man had walked away from that shoulder. The search itself, with all its resources and nothing to show, became part of the mystery. The most common explanation offered is this: Brandon Lawson walked into the darkness in a troubled state and died somewhere in the brush. West Texas at night is vast and unforgiving. There are draws and ravines and dense growth where a body could go unfound. He had a history of health issues. The argument with Lawson had left him emotionally raw. Maybe he wandered. Maybe he collapsed. It accounts for the open door and the running engine, a man who stepped out suddenly and did not come back. It is a reasonable theory. It is almost certainly wrong. Remember the 911 call. The call does not fit a man who stepped out of his truck alone into the dark. Audio analysts, official and independent, have spent years isolating what Brandon said in those 40 seconds. The reconstruction that has held up most consistently suggests he was describing other people. He referenced pushing someone. His tone was urgent and directed, not disoriented. He sounded like a man responding to something unfolding in front of him, not a man in a private crisis, not a man wandering. Then consider the dogs. Trained search dogs do not miss a living person who walked into brush. A person on foot in any direction would have left a scent trail. A deceased person within those search boundaries would have been found within days. The dogs found no path away from the truck in any direction. That is not a failure of the search. That is a data point. The 911 dispatcher who took Brandon's call reportedly described it afterward not as a medical call or a confused caller, but as a man describing a scene involving other people. That assessment has never been made fully public. Brian Roberts stopped because he saw the truck. The highway had limited traffic. Someone may have stopped before him. Brandon made 2 phone calls within minutes of pulling over. Then he was gone before Kyle arrived, before law enforcement arrived, before anyone who knew him could reach that shoulder. Brandon Lawson has never been found. His case remains open with the Texas Rangers. His family has been public and consistent in pushing for answers for more than a decade. No remains. No evidence of what happened after that 911 call ended. No explanation that survives the full set of facts. If he walked away from that truck, where did the dogs lose him? And if he didn't walk away, who reached that shoulder before Brian Roberts did?